Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Ta-ta, Turbo Man. That's from this movie, right?
Oh, that was good.
Ta-ta, Turbo Kid. Anyway,
all the way. Oh, ooh. I wasn't
I'm your host,
expecting
Ty
that.
Spiker Christensen. I already said that. I just wanted you to know my name. Don't forget it, folks. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
This is my gnome stick. Do you recognize that quote, Ty?
I actually put that down. I didn't know if Bruce Campbell, Army of Darkness, was an inspiration or not. For this
totally.
Movie,
There's even that scene where, remember the arrows flying at the guy and the guy's like, ah, 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 and he gets hit. Like there's the scene where the guy throws the blade and it does that cool spin. I don't know if Sam Raimi was the first. Yeah, and then the pit, they throw them in because all the people are chanting, and then
Thunderdome or the pit.
Yeah, exactly. And then he gets the arm chopped up and it lands on the guy's face and the guy's laughing at him. Similarly, he knocks the blade and it hits somebody in the crowd. I was
thinking of like the body, like a whole trunk of some guy lands on one and then like the legs fall on it.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean,
of inspirations. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of references. Did you recognize the Cobra Kai reference? I mean, Karate Kid.
No Mercy, is that?
Yeah,
Strike First, No Mercy.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Well, I think it was throat nuts. And then, I can't remember what it was.
No, that's my quote, nerd.
Oh shoot! Hey, we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast. What's the
eyes,
quote?
throat, genitals?
Genitals. That's right.
Okay, Ty, I was watching this with Cameron and Grant for the first time, and I just have to say they were laughing so hard when the guy gets his head sliced and it starts spinning and there's blood spewing out of his head. Oh,
yeah, it's very nonsensical, but it's.
Dude, this is like if
fun.
This movie's like if Mad Max met what's it called, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, it's funny. I was curious to ask you guys, like, what about this movie that calls to us and our type of humor and our taste? Because I know that all of us like it. Is this just like, does this feel like some? Because like, I guess we all grew up in the 90s. This movie takes place in a post-apocalyptic 1997.
I did not.
Well, yes, it reminds me a lot of all those fun 80s action flicks that you love. Like it's got that music, the synthesizers, do. And then you got like the over-the-top violence, like from RoboCop, where the guy's getting blown away. Just like
the
only thing that this doesn't have from an 80s action flick is homophobia.
That's changed.
or like, I don't know. If you watched freaking Predator, Cameron, when what's his face goes up and clasps Arnold Schwarzenegger's hand.
You son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And the clasp.
No, dude.
There's a lot of eroticism in those films. Like
the helicopter
or
scene in that is forever changed me as a person. He's just like, I'm on this plane with a bunch of. He's like, you guys have some of this stuff. It's like dip or whatever. He's like, it'll make you to not being like a what's it called? He says a gay slur, but I was just like, oh. But
yeah, that's funny that you said that. Yeah, this movie is very it does have like, it does feel nostalgic. It does feel like a cult movie for sure. I mean, it's made in 2015, right?
Well, I think it's also the heavy appeal to like everyone wanted, at least me, like I always used to go on the tramp and pretend that I was Ben 10 or like a Power Ranger, and so it's just like you actually like being granted the power of like your childhood like idol.
Interesting.
Yeah, when he found the glove.
I think that's why it's so appealing. It's just because it's just like you become like your superhero. It'd be like me getting Ben 10's Omnitrix. I'd be like,
yeah, this reminds me a lot of Love and Monsters. You guys remember that movie we watched?
Yeah.
All the insects. For some reason, it reminds me of that movie. He's got his little fort underground, and he goes out on an adventure.
Yeah, it does remind me.
Yeah, gotta love that.
And it's got it's almost like a rom-com.
Jordan doesn't know what movie we're talking about. Love and Monsters.
No,
Jordan?
I remember.
It's like a
stares from Jordan.
It's like a rom-com in between each Monty Python scene.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out the comparison, but I'm like, okay, I guess I can sort of see it.
I don't know. I guess just the setting, like a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's like
a post-apocalyptic. Yes.
There's.
I would compare it more. I would compare it more to Mad Max because it's like desert.
That's apt. Although,
except instead of super sick cars, it's kids' bikes.
Right,
Every
yeah, there's
time
no gasoline. Everyone just has like a
I just
little
I
BMX
just think
bike. I
it's
thought that
so
was great.
funny. It always like for me just completely like would kill the tension and just make me laugh every time that they're like, get him.
And a little
I'm like,
pedaling.
what am I
But
watching?
it does feel like high school bullies in a way where
Oh,
it's like they're all
Yeah.
pedaling on their
absolutely,
bike and you're like, gotta pedal away faster. You know, like
yeah.
they're gaining on us.
Well, it's fun too. Isn't this the same villain from Waterworld, or am I mistaken?
No, but
Maybe.
he that
Oh,
probably is a
no, he's
reference
the same.
to
I think
Waterworld.
from. Never mind. He's. I'm thinking of the villain from Speed. That's the same guy.
Okay, yeah. This
Yeah.
is Ironside or whatever his name is. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool last name. What a dope last name. Ironside. Woo. And Lawrence LaBeouf, she's no relation to Shia, correct? I couldn't find that.
I don't think
I don't
so.
assume so. Okay.
I think the
Anyway,
only name actor is the
Michael Ironside.
the guy with the one eye.
Yeah,
But-
he I remember him from Terminator Salvation, that amazing vehicle that like nearly derailed Christian Bale's
Which is funny
career,
because
man.
he ended up being the Terminator at the end of this film with the
Yes.
red eye.
Yes, definitely very much like Terminator. Zeus. So, folks,
And just so
today
you
we
know
have to
too,
piece this
you guys
together.
probably didn't see Tank Girl, but I'm pretty sure that's the same premise where they drain people of their blood or of their water. They do that in Tank Girl as well. At least I believe that's the
Well,
film.
We'll do in Mad Max too. Yeah, you don't need it. You just
Oh, did
same
they
thing.
really?
Blood bag, remember? He uses him
Oh,
as
well, but
or Soylent Green. It could be that Charlton Heston movie. Soylent Green is people. They're feeding us to each other. Yeah, same thing. He's like,
I
don't
just
drink the water. It's people. And he's like, huh. He like takes a sip. He's like, I did not get that. I think he's just like his perspective on it has not changed. He's like, I drank it. I always know what it tastes like. I feel the same way though, to be fair. It's one of those things where they're like, oh, if you learn what's in hot dogs, you won't eat hot dogs anymore. And I found out it
I
was
still
pig
eat hot
intestines and
dogs.
I'm like, no, I was relieved. I thought they were called wieners for a reason. I thought they were chopping up pigs and they were like, yeah, enjoy your hot dog. And I was like, not that I'm anything. It's just like it's like I don't want to eat a hot
What?
dog if I thought it was a pig's. And then it's like, no, it's just pig intestines. I'm like, that's actually, it's great having an imagination that's far worse and more morbid than reality. Then you're never disappointed because you're like, I thought it was way worse. Now I'll eat hot dogs because they're really not all that bad. So anyway, that was me. So I remember thinking that. I'm like, why else would they call them? Anyway, folks.
What did I walk into?
I know.
I'm
Don't
talking about hot dogs. Yeah.
No, he's just gonna go on a tangent again about it.
No, M. Night Shyamalan agrees with me. And one of his characters in The Happening, he's like, hot dogs? You like hot dogs, right? Protein, nice shape. Amazing, dude. M. Night Shyamalan's writing, dude.
Not
So
saying that shade.
he says, yeah. Watch The Happening again. It is that absurd. He's like, good protein, good shape. Like, I'm not kidding. He says good shape. I'll look it up.
There's
Let me look
no
up The
way.
Happening.
There's no way. It
Oh,
says
I'll
my
look up
shit.
The
that's
Happening.
illegal.
I'll look up The Happening quote.
That-
with
Oh,
the
do
hot
it
dogs.
later.
Anyway. Yeah.
That is an
Back to
illegal
this awesome
quote.
movie.
Folks, we're doing Turbo Kid. This movie came out in 2015. It's not rated. I think I have a good idea of what it would be rated if it ever made theaters. It was directed by 3 people:
Yeah.
Francis
Well,
Simard,
They
Anna
probably
Whistle,
send it.
and
Yeah,
Yonan-Karl
according to
Whistle.
Grant, it would be X.
This movie has excessive violence and a little language.
What?
T is for turbo.
Yeah,
I wonder if
this movie makes Kill Bill look like a child story.
Yeah, they probably have to do like make it black and white in order to get it a rated R because there's just so much blood. It's great. But I wonder though if they could get away with like Monty Python, be like, oh, look how silly it is. Like it's so over the top. Obviously, it's not real.
Well, yeah, apparently there was a short film, T is for Turbo. It was 6
Yeah.
minutes long. I didn't see
It's
it,
the
but
story
yeah.
about before when remember she had her master and he was like a skeleton. It's that story about when she had like they were together and traveling and then he
Oh,
dies.
it's the story about Apple before she
Yeah.
met the new guy. She's like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's
I'm
good.
just a new friend
It's
now.
a good short. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking of something else because they have a short and then they made another short, I think. So there's that story. And then they did another short of Turbo Kid. And that's the one I think that got them funded for this. So
Very fun. It's it feels like an instant cult classic, It's
Yeah.
got all the makings of a very niche market where I don't know that everyone would enjoy it, but like for me, it's like if you like movies like Mandy, you're gonna love this. If you like movies like
Or if you don't like Mandy, you'll also still enjoy it.
that's fair, but there's so many similarities, Cameron, you can't deny, like between this and Mandy, right? I mean, excessive gore, strange weapons, like synthesized music. It's literally like the same movie. It's just like
minus the
different tone.
satanic cult.
Yeah, minus the satanic cult. This is the
I mean,
PG-13 version.
they
of
literally
Mandy.
pull a guy's intestines out with a bike. I don't know how it's any different than Mandy.
Wait, the quote. You have to say the quote. And he's like, you gonna put this back in me? Oh, I just spent all this time.
I like when he's like, we're gonna get you to talk, and he's like, oh, I'll tell you, they're going to the robot ash yard, and he's like, oh, well, this took a lot of time to set up, so I hope you understand. Yeah, and he starts riding the bike, and his intestines come spilling out. So funny.
That scene reminded me of Tropic Thunder when the guy's like holding his.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to put him back in. Let me put him back in, Sarge.
Reminded me of freaking Saw. All those movies. Oh, that was super grody. I just couldn't watch it. So nasty.
I know. I felt bad for showing you that too young.
Showing me
and Cameron. I feel I shouldn't have showed you guys that.
I wasn't too young. I was like 28, 25.
Yeah.
What was I, 5 years ago? I was 25
I will
years
forever
old.
be too young for Saw movies, dude. After showing me Spiral.
Oh, you're referring to Saw, or you're referring to Turbo Kid?
Saw.
Oh, I thought you were saying Turbo Kid. You're like, I'm sorry, I showed it to you when you were too young. I thought you were, I was 25 years old watching.
No,
Turbo
the
Kid.
Saw movies. I just remember
Saw.
feeling this nasty feeling like I shouldn't have showed you that.
George's just looking the horror and the sick look on our face, and he's just like, maybe we don't need to keep watching this.
Maybe a guy's tongue getting ripped out and his fingers getting ripped off wasn't the best thing to watch with Cameron.
Exactly. Well, folks, what was it like watching this movie for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast? Jordan, how about you, man? It was like watching Turbo Kid.
I believe the first time I saw it when I was working at Apple, and I just in between calls I would spend tons of time on Netflix, and I came across it on Netflix, and then I just fell in love with it right away. And this movie's amazing. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times now, and I'm just finishing now. I think for the first time, summer of '84. I started it a while back, but I just finished Stranger Things. I was like, I don't want more Stranger Things stuff, but
More
I'm
kids
excited.
on bikes. Yeah.
Now that Stranger Things is over, right? Unless they have one more season.
I think they
doing
have
one more.
another season because they pretty much did not end it. So I'd be shocked if it was.
Yeah, and the ginger somehow didn't die, Max. She
Yeah.
definitely should have
Dude,
died, bro.
And how does TV-14 when you see someone get like their arms bent backwards? And I didn't know TV-14. That's the
I was
most
like,
disturbing stuff I've ever seen. And eyeballs getting sucked back in their sockets. It's terrifying. Well,
But
folks,
did I recommend this one to you, Ty, or did you just come across it?
I think we watched this together at
Oh.
college. I think you came over and you're like, dude, you need to watch Turbo Kid with us or with me. And so I think we watched it together.
I pour so much garbage down to your throat. It's hilarious.
I liked it though. And Maddie,
Okay.
I showed Maddie. She was like, "What movie again?" And I showed her the IMDb, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that movie." She's like, "Clearly left an impact or whatever." She'd forgotten all of it, but I was like, "It's like good violence, good action. You know, kind of a fun story." I love the retro and synth feel to it. I think it's really cool. It feels more like an 80s film, but they like intentionally pull out 1997. But that being said, it's like I guess you're kind of inspired by the decade that comes before you, because at the kid's age, it would make sense that he's inspired by the 80s things. You know, Turbo Kid magazine or whatever. There's Turbo Man magazine or whatever. Or Turbo Man, right? Or what was it? Because he's like, "Oh, you're not Turbo guy, you're Turbo Kid or whatever." So,
That's
he's inspired by a
basically what
comic
happened.
manga. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, let's. What about you, Cameron? When did you first watch this movie and rewatch it for the podcast?
I don't remember when we watched it, Jordan. I just remember it was with Jordan and Grant. I think it was back in high school.
No,
Right.
it was actually just like a year ago. It's pretty recent. We watched it down in the basement, in the theater room.
Really?
Yeah, we were cruising like all day long because you had like a day off or something, and so from the like morning till the night we were watching movies nonstop. I think
Wait, no, but this was at your
great.
basement, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like 2 years ago. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but
Oh, sorry,
yeah, rewatching for the pod, I was surprised at how much I forgot.
Mhm.
And I think I still think it's great. I think which is funny because like I think like I rated it higher on the rewatch, but at the same time I almost think that like I just think my first opinion on it was just way too I was just like so shook by the violence. But I don't know. I didn't love the relationship as much.
Oh, interesting.
I thought it was still good. Maybe it's just because I've seen movies like Her and Blade Runner 2049 who I feel like do it better with just kind of like the whole like AI and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is like a perfect B movie. I
For sure, for sure.
don't know if it quite hits A tier.
But yeah, rewatching it, I forgot so many of the action scenes. And I also remember thinking the first time I watched it and this time that like when they get caught and like they're in the pit, I'm like, wait, there's still like 50 minutes left. What is gonna go like what's gonna happen the rest of this movie? And then I just remember thinking his mask was so funny, how he's like always has it on, but then always takes it off. Like you see him with it on like 3 seconds every time he's on screen, and then he's always like and setting it down. I don't know. It's just like a random thing that I thought was weird. But
I
yeah,
thought you were referring to the skull face with the wide eyes.
Yeah.
He never speaks.
yeah, that
Always
dude needs to get more
blinking.
work, dude. He's a professional eye actor.
Just wild-eyed and yeah.
And his hair,
Crazy-
he was just
crazy
giving like
hair coming
45-year-old
You know,
creepy
I
vibes.
will say though, I like their relationship, and it made more sense than in Han Solo. Because remember the weird robot like was in love with who's the guy from Atlanta?
We don't talk about that.
Donald Glover.
We don't talk
Oh yeah,
about
how,
movie
yeah.
Solo.
They
Don't
the
remind me
Millennium
that
Falcon.
movie
Yeah,
exists.
I know.
I never finished that one. That's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, she's. Anyways, it's
I
just.
just remember finishing that, and Kevin was just like, "That was so good," and I was just like, "I don't know if I'll ever be able to talk to you ever again, Kevin."
You're like, we can no longer be friends.
Yeah, I'm like, and this is where I no longer speak to you.
I thought you weren't on speaking terms
Look
after
at that.
him beating
It's-
you in Wii boxing. Cameron.
Boxing, I was boxing in tears, like 7 years old, just sobbing.
he's just beating a 7-year-old on the ground.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, you crap, and you're just crying. It's like, yeah, so good, dude. So love it. That's great. Yeah, I already said it. Jordan showed me this movie, and then rewatching it today, it was funny that, like you, Cameron, I'd forgotten a lot of it. I do remember the whole feel, like nothing changed. I was like, yeah, it feels very much like one of my guilty pleasures, the Kung Fury short on Netflix. Cameron, have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
Kung Fury. I think is Jordan. Is that the? I think I saw the first scene in that. Jordan showed me.
It's like an arcade. It's almost like watching Cobra Kai, but like if it were like a joke. Like it's a guy that
Cobra
almost
Kai
looks like
isn't a
Johnny
joke.
Yeah, but like how do I say it? Like almost like or no, like Street Fighter, I guess is what I'm thinking. Like fighting karate, but like over the top. It's super silly and wacky. He plays like this cool, I don't know. Reminds me of like Snake from Escape New York or whatever. A little bit of that. I don't know. It's just over the top. I don't know if you've seen it, but like Zeus shows up. There's a raptor. He goes back and fights Hitler. It's so everywhere. But the whole thing is a joke, and it makes me think of that a little bit. But yeah, I never forgot the tone from this movie because it sticks out. You know, there's not a lot of movies like this. The synth music, I really loved it. I love the song. I looked it up. It's called I have to find it again because it made me laugh. This amazing 80s song. It's called Thunder in Your Heart. It's by John Farnham, and it's like a really catchy song. It feels kind of like one of those punch rave songs where you like work out to or something, like from the 80s, like Jazzercise.
Oh
or
yeah,
something. It's super pumping.
totally reminds me of the montage song from the Matt and Trey Parker not South Park, but their puppet
Team
movie.
America.
Team America.
Yeah. Montage.
Yeah.
Gonna do a montage. Yeah. Or even like America. Freak yeah.
Oh, that was the other part that made me think of Army of Darkness was his gearing up thing. It was like whoosh, and then it did the zoom in.
Zoom in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made me think of Edgar Wright, you know, every time they all gear up to go to battle. The extreme close-ups. Yeah, they're fun. But yeah, so the tone didn't change. But I'd love to get what you guys love about this movie. Cameron, how about you? What are your two favorite things from this film?
My first favorite thing. I don't want to go too broad because then I'll probably steal some of your guys's. So I want to go. A specific scene is just the first time, like they're in the, not the first time in the pit, but when Turbo Kid and Apple are in the pit. That whole sequence. I just love. My favorite thing is like how there was anticlimactic deaths. Like the one guy where he's like, you go for the big guy. And he runs and slips and then just kills himself and instantly
Instantly dies. Yeah.
and then I just love too how like they would kill him in super unconventional ways. I just thought that was so funny, where it's just like it wasn't what they tried to do, or like that. For example, when they threw the blade or whatever, and
The
he like
hammer
he like
boomerang.
hits it like a bat,
Okay.
like a baseball bat, and then it like hits the guy on the side. It's like
I love when they first get there and everybody's chanting Zeus, Zeus, and then the girl in the pit's chanting Zeus, Zeus.
yeah, Apple's like Zeus.
She doesn't realize like
Get-
this is the guy that's gonna kill me.
Getting wrapped up, yeah, in the praise. It's too funny. Yeah, I did like
Yeah,
that.
and then just I think my second favorite thing, I just love like the commentary that what's his name gives, like the Australian guy, the arm wrestler. Just his like everything that he says, he's just so funny. And like all of his interactions where he's like,
Is that true? No, but it sounds cool.
yeah, I thought he was very like self-aware, and that's what made him kind of a fun character.
Oh, that was the other callback you mentioned, Cameron. The arm wrestle. That's clearly Indiana Jones arm wrestling the Temple of Mount Doom guy. Did anyone else get that vibe?
Oh,
Oh, I
interesting.
didn't even
That
think about that.
costume choice, like
Yeah, that
literally
is.
was. He's wearing a fedora, his head's down. I was like, is that Indy? And he's literally arm wrestling the guy with this Temple of Doom skull. Like it's literally him.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
I was like, they must have picked up that costume for a specific, like Indiana Jones is like a big favorite of theirs or something.
And he kind of looks like Harrison Ford. Like he looks like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Walmart version of
Gruff,
Harrison Ford.
scruffy.
Yeah.
The Walmart version. That's great. The Walmart version. That's so funny. Yeah, great value brand. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great value brand, Harrison Ford.
Discount Harrison Ford. I love it.
Well, and do you
Jordan,
love the leather? Takes me back to Mad Max. There's
Yeah.
always
yeah,
gotta have that
all the
leather.
sporty, yeah, and all
Illegal.
the strange weapons. Yeah, very much like saw blades, all that stuff.
Um,
Jordan, how about you, man? What are your two favorite things from this film?
yeah, I mean, obviously the violence. I can never get tired of over the top. Like clearly, it's Cameron mentioned it already, but Monty Python, just when it like shoots out,
Gratuitous, yeah.
yeah, just super silly, and it's so. I was gonna say it's so overt, it's covert, but I just love how over the top it is. It makes me so happy. Just because it's at that point it's silly. Like it's not like maybe some people would be grossed out by it, but I think it's just funny. So and
Why
it
why would someone be grossed out?
Yeah,
and
there's a
then
point where I'm like, man, how did they get that shade though right? It looks good. Like it's convincing blood. I'm like, what is that? Like strawberry syrup
Dude,
meets
that had to
blood
at
pellets with
least a third of the budget had to have gone to
the
blood.
gallons of blood, yeah.
and they mentioned the director mentioned part of his inspiration was like Peter Jackson's early films like Brain Dead, and I thought that
Yes.
was interesting. So
Okay,
a lot of
that the
blood.
little rat. That is totally from Brain Dead.
100%. Yeah. That little creepy rat that's like the rodent at the beginning. It's like a
Yeah.
little puppet and it like gets out and scratches his face and he has to like beat it to death with a hammer. That whole movie was started Brain Dead because of this creepy rat that infects his mother or whatever, or him. I can't remember. It affects his mother, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, excessive amounts of blood in that movie. They use a lawnmower to like chop down zombies, Cameron. The movie's so great. Have you seen Brain Dead or Dead Alive, whatever it's called?
Oh, we'll get to it
No,
eventually.
yeah, Jordan's gonna make you watch it. It's almost it's sickening.
I
It's
hate zombie
it's
movies.
so weird that it's Peter Jackson. It just I'm like, how did they choose this guy for Lord of the Rings? It's the craziest
I
thing.
know. I love it.
Frighteners, yeah. Anyway,
It's
just
so good.
but then you watch Lord of the Rings and they're like, there's still moments in it where I'm like, oh no, like that is Peter Jackson. That's very Jackson-y. So
And this is the kind of practical effects like I love. I just so that's my second thing. I just love that they're using like lots of practical effects, like actual because that first shot, I mean, pretty early on when he's like can't go into that zone, he's making a map. Actually, okay, that does remind me of
Love and Monsters, right?
Love and okay, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Yeah, little
Yeah.
hunting.
He's got a
Okay.
little
I don't see the
channel.
comparison.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's
Well,
like, now I see him.
yeah.
Oh, it's so
Don't think about it too
soon.
much.
But I love that just when he sees those heads and those severed heads, I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. Like those are like the days, like Ty mentioned Indiana Jones. Like I love seeing that kind of stuff because it's like, oh, like these cool looking skulls and severed heads and just bodies, things that I enjoyed as a kid. It just kind of I don't know if I want to say immerses me, but it feels more real because I'm just really tired of looking at CGI stuff.
Well, and even the CGI they use in this film almost feels super corny, but
Yeah,
like it
but
plays
they
off of
lean
the
into it.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they're like the laser, the even like the laser shooting, it has like this cartoonish,
Yeah.
like it's just very like Flash Gordon is another movie that I
Yeah.
think of all the time. It's like it's super corny action or CGI that they use, but it almost feels like more like a video game, kind of like a Scott Pilgrim or something. But anyway, I've said everything that I think this is like. So in the end, my two favorite things, I do like the weapons in this movie. I really like seeing like the saw blade retractor. I love seeing the guy
That
with
was
the
sick. Yeah.
launching arm. He reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China, the rice hat dude. I don't know why, but just if he had electric powers, he would have been the one
Well,
of
and
the three
the dude
ninjas.
with the bag over his head and the really like long thing, he looked like the villain from Resident Evil 5, if you remember that.
I don't remember Resident Evil 5, but I know
Okay.
Resident Evil 4, Baghead, that always comes with you with the chainsaw is who I thought of. But
Okay, but though he's similar to that but
RE5,
bigger.
it was the Africa one, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what the villain looked like, but
I'll have
I'll
to show
take
you a
your word for
picture,
it.
but they're
Yeah.
pretty similar.
So I like the really corny action, and the synthesized music was super fun. So yeah,
Yes.
I had a really good time with this movie, and it did feel like I said, it felt nostalgic. It's so funny how it's just like this is a 2015 movie, and it just feels like a lightning in a bottle, where like everyone
Yes.
was like I would hope to make a movie like this,
Yes, this
with
is
my
the kind of
friends.
movie
Like
I
boom,
would want to make.
This is
Yeah.
what Jordan would
yeah,
do with that budget. He would just like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
much can we
Just
spend on blood?
how
Okay.
much? Yeah,
How much do
just
we
like
have? $500. 250 will be blood.
yeah. And I almost feel like you don't get movies like Mandy without Turbo Kid. Maybe Paul, what's his name, Cosmatos. Maybe he saw this. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. But I just feel like they're so similar.
Well, but
I think
this one's
Christopher Nolan watched this before he made Tenet.
well, this is just, I mean, this clearly is inspiration from all the movies we mentioned, like people
Right.
that are fans of Sam Raimi and just
Yeah.
and Steven
Peter
Spielberg
Jackson.
movies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
early Steven Spielberg. Sorry, not his new stuff.
We will not mention his new stuff, but no, in the end, yeah. So do you guys have any nitpicks or things you wanted to call out from this movie?
I would love to see what they could do with the bigger budget, or I hope they just make more movies like this. I'm starting Summer of '84, and it lacks that violence.
Yeah, I like all the contraptions. So we mentioned like the weird exercise bike that pulls out the guy's intestines, the arm wrestling with what do you call it? Searing hot brands. Like they, if you push the guy, he loses. He gets his hand like
Yeah,
branded or
or
something.
the blades, and then he's like, and
Yeah, they have a blender. Yeah, they had a blender blade, and it's like I like that too, where you're arm wrestling, and if you get down, you'll get your arm chopped up by some blender. It's pretty awful. So. But I also thought she reminded me a little bit of Harley Quinn and Suicide Squad, and I thought she would be less annoying than Harley Quinn.
yes, I thought
I
so
think
too.
Margot Robbie is fine, but her New Jersey accent and impression of Harley Quinn kind of annoys me, and I wish
Yeah,
she would have toned it down a little bit more like this. Because this girl, Apple, kind of annoys me a little bit in this movie, but it's
but
certainly less annoying than Harley Quinn and Suicide
See, it's funny
Squad.
because Harley Quinn's supposed to be super annoying, and I don't think I've ever watched anything that I enjoy her in. Every
Yeah,
single Batman one, I'm just like,
but no, but
can
all
she
the
be a
cartoons,
little?
she's perfect, and maybe it's because she's in
She
it
has so little screen
less.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's
not
the only
saying that.
reason why she's tolerable is because she's in it for like 2 minutes. And you're like, oh, she's interesting.
I almost think she's pretty endearing though. I thought they nailed it on this one in Turbo Kid.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They didn't put her too much into it, and that was good. And they killed her off, so I agree with Jordan.
Oh
She
my
fell
gosh.
off the
Which
wagon.
I don't understand. The first time I watched this, I was like, should they literally just put her on another body? Why couldn't they just do that again? Like, I didn't understand why she couldn't live.
Yeah.
He
Also,
says, "An
also
apple," and he goes,
his gun
"Sorry.
is kind of like plot armor. It's like occasionally it's just like, oh, it's not working. Oh, it
Charged.
is
It's not
working.
charged. Oh
I'm like,
no!"
what?
But he only had 2 shots, remember? And he
Well,
shot
Cameron,
one, and then
that thing
he
is so OP. Of course, it needs to recharge. That's ridiculous.
he's just vaporizing.
He's just
people.
vaporizing everybody.
Awesome. It just turns them into
It's
mush.
it's kind of like the big. What is it you wear at sport games? What are those big hands called? Maybe just
Oh,
big
foam
hands.
hand.
Foam hand. That in Dead Space, if you beat it on hardcore, you can unlock the foam hand, and it just goes pew 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 pew, and it just blows everything to shreds.
What? It's the most odd specific thing. It's like
So,
one of those foam hands.
well, I
And you
just
just want,
recently
and then you just
played
want to
Dead
hop back.
Space.
One last thing I wanted to say
Oh, yeah.
about it. I hate people that kiss after they kill an enemy and there's blood all over their face, and then they kiss each other and then they pull away and there's just blood all over their
AIDS.
face.
AIDS.
This
Oh,
was,
it's just
but
so
this was the
gross.
best kiss ever. Are you kidding me? I love those kisses. And when he like pulls out the umbrella and it's raining blood as he's kissing her, I love that. I thought that was perfect. That was my favorite part.
I didn't mind the umbrella expanding and ripping some guy in half, and then the umbrella covering them, but they still were covered in blood. And she goes in for the kiss, and I almost felt like the actor felt uncomfortable. You know, she was like I don't know. You can
Oh,
see her
really?
hand,
It's just corn. It's
watch-
cornstarch, Ty. It's great.
Yep, it's still sticky and it's not comfortable. I've had a lot of corn. Well, I don't know, what did you pour on me?
Yeah,
Hershey's
all
syrup
sorts of
and-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not comfortable because then it gets sticky and cold,
Yeah.
especially when you're on set. And where they filmed, it looked pretty cold. It looked like fall anywhere they were filming. It was late fall or early spring. It seemed there's like all these dead leaves everywhere and industrial sites and stuff. So
I loved it.
uh,
I disagree.
yeah.
But
I,
yeah,
I hope you keep doing it.
a hard recommend unless like uber
Never
violence
stop.
is
Never stop.
is up your or up your.
Huh?
What am I trying to say?
Up yours, Cameron.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
What is that? What's that phrase in your valley? In your
Up your alley.
Oh,
up your alley. Thank you. I'm saying valley. What the fudge? Up your valley. if uber violence is up your alley, then yeah, this is like for you.
If it tips your peak, you know, if it gets the plateau.
Well,
if
and
it
kind of,
perturbs your plateau.
and if you like that as a comedic thing, like there's a part where the guy rips off a guy's jaw and shoves it into his eyes. Like that's how crazy this movie
Tears a
is.
jaw off his head. Yeah. Yep. That's right.
It's like the violence from Invincible, just way less scary.
Yeah.
Just less Omni-Man scaring you into making you almost want to cry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's fun. Not much more to say about it than that. Check it out. Action adventure comedy, baby.
Yes, recommend
Good
100%.
Fun films.
Oh, unless you don't
Um,
like violence.
Recommend it if you don't like violence. Folks, we get into movies that we've seen lately and movies that we're looking forward to seeing. Cameron, what have you seen lately, bub?
So I showed Drew The Hunt for
Yes.
The Hunt. Is that the
Not the American
Mads
version.
Mads Mikkelsen?
It's,
Yeah,
it's
Mads Mikkel.
Jagden or whatever it's called. It's Jagden. I don't know how to say it in Danish or whatever language it's normally in. It's like Jagten.
I believe it's pronounced jogging, Cameron. It's more like a light run. Apparently, it's the latest craze. I don't know if you've seen Anchorman. Anyway.
And then, but yeah,
jogging.
I showed him and Grant, and man, they were just getting so mad the entire time.
Yes.
I was just laughing.
The best scene is when he punches him in the church. I'm like, yes, punch that.
Dude, the best scene is when the kid spits in the girl's face. Why are you lying? Dude, that kid is a baller.
The worst scene is when he picks up the girl again and like carries her back inside. I'm like, don't go near.
I
her.
would never
I know.
that child in a million years.
Oh my gosh.
You know, everyone gives what's the guy, Mike Pence, a hard time because he's like, I'll never be in a room with a woman alone. And I'm like, no, dude, I get it. I wouldn't be alone with any other member of the opposite sex ever for any reason.
Or child.
That's not your wife.
Definitely
yes.
not children.
And they all mock him for it. And it's like, how many misconduct allegations does he have? 0. Smart guy. Because if you don't, it's like my word against hers. Believe all women. It's scary. I'm just saying. I just think it's interesting that they all mock him for it. They're like, what a backwards way of thinking. And you're like, can't touch him. Squeaky clean.
And then I watched a movie called True Stories for my film class. Sucked.
True Stories.
It's David Byrne and John Goodman. It's a really weird role for John Goodman. He's playing this like it's just like about this small town in Texas, and it's pretty much just like a bunch of these people. Like it's just essentially shows how the town's like shifting towards like industrialization.
Does John Goodman wear overalls? I think I've seen this movie.
Maybe. Well, he just wears like super bright suits and stuff like that.
Wait, yeah. What's it called again?
True Stories.
Truce.
Came out in 1986.
Yeah, I think I've seen this movie.
And then I showed Grant for the first time and then rewatched it with Drew. RRR. Oh my gosh, we rewinded so many scenes, dude. We after we finished it, we rewatched I think like 6 scenes or whatever. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
Oh,
It
wait,
like
I said overalls. I meant like color. Yeah, I actually meant colorful suits. I don't know why I said overalls. Sorry. I think I've seen this movie, Cameron, a long
that's
time ago.
weird.
True story. Yeah. And it's funny that you're watching these films. Yeah, like you said, it's introducing the industrial. It's just funny that you're like watching film movies. You're like, and this movie talks about this point in history, and you're like, I
And
couldn't
I'm
be
like,
less
I
interested.
don't care.
I don't care.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, if you want some
Criterion.
well, that's what's funny is for extra credit, he has this like list of movies you can watch for extra credit, and he's got like Inglourious on there and other movies like that.
Yeah.
And like
you're
they're asterisked, of course, because they're like, oh, these are the ones asterisked are R. But I'm like, why are we watching half of the other good stuff you have on this list? We're watching every garbage like that. And watch like silent films, and I'm like, oh yay, I'm being cultured. Oh boy. But and
It
then
is
I
crazy. Yeah, like the movies that we watch now, you're like, how many of these will be timeless, you know? Like my
Yeah.
movie list, I was looking through it and I was like, how many of these movies will be remembered in like 20, 30, 40 years, right? Like, will people look back and be like, oh, like these movies aren't in 3D, you know?
yeah,
Dragon
or
doesn't
like
come out.
I
Can't
can't
feel
live
the
this. I
fire
can't
of the
watch it in
dragon
VR.
breathing. Yeah. It's like you can watch, yes, perfectly said, right? Like whatever it is, right? Whether
I
it's a
can't
chip
be
in a
in the
brain.
Avatar world.
I
What a
can't be
stupid
in the
move.
movie. Yeah, why would you watch a 2D? That's awful. You can't be.
Um,
Yo, you know
but
what's interesting? Sorry, that is a very interesting idea where you could be an active participant in a movie.
what's it called?
You could change the outcome. Very
RRR. We're
interesting.
doing that this next month for my choice.
RRR.
I'm thinking about rewatching it for a third time just for it, because dude, I'm
What does
talking.
RRR mean? Is it just
It's
or
well, there's multiple different times in the movie where they say it, but it's like revolt. I'll look it
it's
up.
a foreign film? It's in a different language.
Oh,
It's Bollywood.
I heard it's like a superhero movie, basically. So it's like it seems like your guilty pleasure because you love
Well, okay.
superheroes.
It's like if the Justice League would have been made like this, it would be the best movie of all time.
I no, but I have heard good things about this film.
And
Got
it
really
won.
highly
It won the
rated,
Oscar
yeah.
for most or best original dance. Like, there's some scenes in this movie, dude. It is the craziest thing ever. It's the action is so over the top. Like, I'm talking like people grabbing jaguars and throwing them at soldiers.
Sounds like Shaolin soccer or whatever.
Yeah, it reminds me. There's aspects that remind me a lot of Journey to the West, where I'm like, oh dang, like they just lean into that. They do jumps where it's like a person like is flying like this after being punched, and I'm like, he's not falling with gravity. But it's one of the it's the most fun 3 hours and 5 minutes like of my life. It's
Oh
so
man,
fun.
3 hours, another 3 hour movie. I just sat through John Wick 4.
No, but
You
trust me,
sat
this
through
is
it. It's
better
good.
than this is better. And then I've been grinding Death Note. I'm on episode 31 and I started
Already?
last
Nerd.
weekend. So I started like 6 days ago. Oh my
Let's
gosh.
see, there's 40 episodes total or something.
37, I think.
37.
Oh
So
dang, are you gonna
past.
finish it this time then?
Yeah, this will be my first time completely through, because that's why it's kind of fun watching it now, because I'm like, oh, I don't remember any of this stuff, because I just remember
Yeah.
Grant would tell me about it, because he I would like walk in every once in a while after spoiler, L dies, and just for the listeners, I didn't want to spoil that for them.
What I like about that, Cameron, is you gave him absolutely no time to
Yeah.
like
Spoilers.
unwind.
Elders.
You're like, spoilers. Oh, like fidgeting with the headphones, trying to.
Take it off, take it off.
It's just like literally, it's just like,
I
oh
love
shoot, they're like trying to pause it. And it's like,
But
well,
yeah,
there you go.
no, it's oh my gosh,
Spoilers.
it
You're
is
like,
so
I think what you're
good.
supposed to do, Cameron, is say spoilers for
The
the
Death Note.
Death Note TV
Yeah,
series.
I mean, I think this is like it's like top. I think it's like top 5 cat and mouse
Sorry.
detective.
That's gonna be my
yeah.
sorry, Karen. I'm so sorry to tease you. That's gonna be my new thing. I'll be like, spoiler alert,
Spoiler
and
alert.
Bruce Willis is dead the whole time.
I think yeah,
Makes
Fargo
sense.
season 1 is the second best cat and mouse detective.
See, I would say maybe even Catch Me If You Can is up there. because I think
Oh, well, are we
dynamic-
talking TV shows or movies? Because now
Uh,
we're going two different things.
Oh,
I'm just saying in cinematic
well, Jordan
history.
still thinks Adam Weingart's Death Note is a valid movie, so a legitimate
Yeah,
movie.
you should die for that.
I totally agree,
I
Cameron.
love that movie.
I thought they were doing a live action TV show or series.
That
and
would
I was
have
like,
been
yes. I was
yeah.
so happy. I was so happy. And they were like,
And they're like, oh, so how
and they're
long?
like, it's a movie.
is
And I was like,
37
"Ah."
episodes. We can make it an hour and a half.
Yes.
Like-
It's so sad. It's so sad. Like,
Dude, oh, it's
what I love about Cameron though, you mentioned it too, like all the things. I'm just so surprised how smart it was, where it was like these two characters are almost superhuman intelligent, but it made it so fun to watch them ping pong back and forth. Like,
and
you
I
know,
I love the dialogue
deduction,
in their
yeah.
heads too. And he's like,
yes.
it's just a game of tennis. Do I let him win? No, but then he might think that I'm just like he's like overthinking and thinking through like
but it's so cool how he's calm on the surf. I love that. That's what made it so interesting to watch, because he'd be like like it would freeze and then he'd be like like it would go
I've
quiet
won.
like, and then like he'd be like sit there silently. There's no, like you could hear a pin drop. I love that. It was so well
Yeah.
done.
like and just the way that L goes about it, he's just like,
I just wanted to tell you one thing. I am L.
and he's like, is this guy actually L? Is he trying to do this to confront me? He's like, does he think I can kill him?
It's so good. I know,
It's-
he just stares right at.
And I'm actually impressed watching on the second time. I actually enjoy after L dies a lot more. Like my biggest
stop.
my
each
biggest
time
gripe
doing that.
is Nier figures out things too easily. Because L, it took him like 20 or like 20 episodes to figure out like that it was potentially Light, and that it was like potentially his girlfriend, like all these things after like a bunch of deductive reasoning. But like in the last little bit, like Nier's figured it out. He's like, oh, it has to be L or has to be Light off of like 2 episodes. I'm like, there's no way you figured that out like that quick. But I don't know. But
Dude, there's nothing like that scene where he touches the notebook after he's had his memory wiped. He's like, Light, are you okay? Yeah. So
Yeah.
good. There's like 3 scenes like that.
and
So amazing, dude.
L's just like,
He's like, what? Because like he's obviously like, yeah, that's a pretty scary looking creature over there, Shinigami. But he's like,
yeah,
"Come
he's
on,
like,
it's not that big
anyone
of a
would
deal."
be. He's like, anyone would be scared at the sight of a Shinigami.
It's so great. And it goes so quiet right before it. And then like there's 3 other scenes too where Light's alone in his room and he just starts laughing to himself. He's like and then Ryuk appears and he just sees him and he screams. There's a close-up of his mouth and he like dramatically falls to the floor. It's so good. And then of course you can't forget the Death Note writing. It's so iconic. It's such a meme.
We'll
Like,
have to do an episode about this. We can talk about this for hours.
Oh, I
No,
know.
dude,
We should.
even
dude, I
one of
love
the
it.
new one of the new people, every time he kills somebody, he goes, delete, delete. It's so good. It's so
No, it's
good.
great. I love it. It's so fun. Yeah,
But
it's unreal.
yeah, so
Unreal
I'm just
show.
looking forward to finishing that. And then also I gotta watch All Quiet on the Western Front eventually.
Oh, are you watching the old the 1930 film, or are you watching
No,
the
the 2022.
I loved it. It's so good. It's
Yeah.
unbelievably good. Is that for school or is you just do it? It's on.
I
your
just
list to watch?
really want to watch it.
I heard the
Dude,
original is really good too.
yeah.
The one I'm watching for
I've heard it's
school
good,
this
but-
weekend is called A Face in the Crowd. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Oh, it's like a older film, like black and white. Of course.
Like, Cameron, I think I can count on my hand how many black. If it's not, what's
It's a
it?
Wonderful
Night of
Life.
Living
If it's not, I
Okay.
was gonna say Wonderful Life. It's not Wizard of Oz, which is like half in color, and then the last one was the
Night of the Living Dead.
No, oh yeah. See,
Wait
now
Until
you're throwing
Dark?
out- Wait, keep it going. No, Wait Until Dark's color, bro.
Yeah.
Well, they redid it in color. I'm pretty sure it's. Oh, I think they have a black and
Oh,
no. I think they have a black and white
no.
version of it.
No,
I don't think so.
Maybe.
Doo doo head. Georgia,
Maybe.
stinky doo doo loser.
Oh, maybe.
Wait, did you go through your whole list, Cameron? I got a couple I want to go.
Oh, it's got
Okay.
Andy Griffith though, facing the crowd. It's Andy Griffith from the Andy Griffith Show.
Wait, I just got a couple really quick. So, I watched Time Cop. Very fun movie if you like time travel. So I recommend it to Cameron. It's a lot like The Running Man or
Love The Running Man.
just like old school.
One of Arnold's
I hope you're
best.
hungry because
But-
I'm gonna
but-
shove my fist down your throat and pull out your
Dude.
Cossack spine.
Dude, and those spandex uniforms are the funniest things ever.
Well,
Like
I
watching
loved it
Arnie wear
because
one.
this one guy got like half his body in this like antifreeze thing, and then the guy kicks him, and then he like shatters him, and then after he says something, and then he walks away, he's like, "Ah, I should have said freeze." That's great.
Dude, dude, that's hot fuzz right there, dude. I hit him, and he fell in the freezer. And I said, "Cool off." He's like, "No, that would have been great." But there was a scene, or like earlier, I said scene. He's like, "Earlier today, I hit him with the Japanese pistol, and I said, playtime's over." When I threw him the cuddly monkey, he's like, "Oh, that's great."
I think he said that same quote in this movie. I was just like, "Oh no,
Really?
no, that was in Turbo Man when he's like, playtime's over."
Yes, they had the lines. Yes,
I felt like there was another time
no,
in Turbo
there.
Kid
Yeah,
that
and Turbo
he
Kid,
missed a
the one
line.
scene where no, it's literally he's like, "Hey, from where I sit, it's like I got eyes everywhere," and he goes, "From where I sit, it looks like you've got one eye," and then he tries to stab him or whatever, and then he like cuts off his hand, and he's like, "I'm gonna strangle you with my bare hand. I'm gonna kill you with my bare hands." Like, "Huh? From where I sit, you only have one hand." It's amazing. Like, yes, I
And
wanted to mention that because that was a great scene.
yeah, that's also a fun callback to old 80s films, just the
Yes,
one-liners. I miss those.
yes,
Um,
zingers.
and then I watched All of Me with my wife. It has Steve Martin and the girl from Big Business, Lily Tomlin,
Yeah,
or is that her? Yeah.
Was it good?
Eh, there's the beginning is really great. Like when he's
he
first
doesn't have a
like,
big nose, does he? Steve Martin has a big
no,
nose.
that's Roxanne.
Oh,
Or I think so.
yeah, that's right.
I'm trying not to spoil it, but
I'm not gonna watch it.
okay, well, so she
Spoiler warning. They get married at the end.
she ends up like getting inside his body somehow, like this voodoo stuff. Anyways, and so like they're sharing half and half his body, and so he's like trying to walk with her. It's really funny because Steve Martin's hilarious, but and
Sounds
then
like a real heart and souls kind of thing. Robert Downey Jr.
similar, yeah.
inhabited by several bodies.
And then Touch of Evil. I don't remember if I mentioned this. Oh, I did mention it last podcast. But one I didn't mention a while ago that I watched was a recommendation from Ty, Cool Hand Luke. I don't know if you recommended it, but you said
Good
you'd
movie.
seen it and the warden reminded you of the warden tugs.
What? Wait, Warden Doug from freaking Cell Block in '99,
Yeah, yeah.
or
So
Braun Cell Block. Yeah,
so I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Like,
it is weird how much prison movies take from Cool Hand Luke. Like, it's
yeah,
got
yeah.
all the things. Like even Sandlot, the famous scene where Wendy Peppercorn, the lifeguard, they're all watching her putting suntan lotion on. They're like, she doesn't know what she's doing, and he goes, she knows exactly what she's doing. They have this scene where this lady's washing her car in front of all these guys on a chain gang, and they're all like crushing rocks with their pickaxes, and they're all like ogling this girl, like. And you're like, dude, if these guys got free, that woman needs to get out. Like, she's
Yeah.
like washing her car, like in a bikini or something. I don't remember what she was doing,
Yeah.
sunbathing or something. But they're all objectifying her and everything. And yeah,
And,
there's the
well,
warden
it's
is a great character, and Cool Hand Luke refuses. It's like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like before. Jack
yeah,
Nicholson
that did.
won.
It kind of does remind me of that, and it's interesting because I'm going back to these old movies. I'm like, man, these ones ended sad. I kind of like these sad endings, like Deer Hunter, this movie, Cool Hand Luke,
Yep.
and
Yeah,
Night of
tragic.
the Living Dead. I'm just surprised because I'm so used to all these like happy ending movies these days. So
Yeah, like Turbo Kid, where he's like,
oh,
I'm going out to the wastelands. He's like, there's nothing out there. I know. Hey,
they did
goodbye.
announce that they might make a second. So
Did they really? Oh,
yeah,
that's great.
I hope so because
I
this
hope
is
they
great.
do. Yeah.
Ty, what about you? What have you seen lately?
So I want to make sure. Have I mentioned the 3 movie? I went and saw 3 movies at the theater. So John
Yeah.
Wick 4. Are we going to talk about that later, or do you want to
No,
talk
we'll talk about it.
now?
Well,
'Cause Cameron hasn't
Cameron
seen it
might.
yet,
I'll hop
Cameron,
off.
yeah.
I'll hop off.
Okay.
after.
Okay. Do you want to just tack it on, or do you want to? If Cameron's going to go see it, do you want to talk next week about it or not? That's up to you guys.
We'll figure that out. Shoot, we need to figure it out now, I
That's
guess.
what I'm saying. We can just save it next week, and if not, I can just talk about it next week after Cameron's seen it, though.
Okay.
So I'd love to know your take on it, Cameron, because I've picked some ideas off of Jordan, and I'm excited because I do want to gush about some things about it. So, but we'll talk about that later. I went and saw Creed 3, which I really liked. Michael B. Jordan directed it. Oh wait, I mentioned this
You
last
mentioned
week.
all this, yeah, and you mentioned Cocaine Bear.
And
So
Cocaine Bear.
anything else, Ty?
So earlier, I don't know if I mentioned I was on the airplane when I was flying back a while ago. Did I ever mention because you mentioned Cool Hand Luke, the Paul Newman movie with Tom Cruise where he plays pool?
I've seen that one. Have you? Did you like it?
Color of Money.
Color
Yeah.
of
Well,
Money?
there's a black and white one with Paul Newman, and then it's actually the same story years later.
Mm.
It's Color of Money, and what's the other one? The Color of Money, something else. Let's see what I can find. But both star Paul Newman, and it's a really good film. I really liked it. Tom Cruise is so great. He's so cocky. He plays like this young hotshot, lot to prove. Really liked it. It's a really good movie about pool that I didn't even know I would want to watch. But I think it's Martin Scorsese, if I'm not mistaken. Which
Yeah.
I thought, like, oh, like it's got all the hallmarks of that, but it's got electric Tom Cruise is super young and it's just cocky and it's fun to watch. Anyway, and Paul Newman's awesome as always. So, uh, other than that, I don't think I've watched anything else. I think that's just about it. But things I'm looking forward to: Oppenheimer, obviously.
Comes out same day as Barbie, double feature.
I don't know what to say about that. Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. I don't
know.
think I care to see. Is it satire? I haven't seen any trailer for it.
I've seen the trailer.
Yeah, I seen a trailer.
You have? What is
hope
it?
they
What-
go
is
the
it
satire
a
route.
joke? Is it like a toy coming to life? I
I-
think that'd be the best case scenario.
I don't know.
I think they already did this. There was like a
I
Disney
think
Barbie
it's kind
comes
of like
to
their.
life.
I think it's kind of like
the
their
toy.
the like a Barbie world, kind of like a.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it really
Played
has
by
a.
soundtrack by Aqua.
I really hope it's more like a Truman Show. I think that would be really funny.
Oh, like they're all like living in a fake reality or
Yeah.
something, and they all like enter the real world.
It doesn't look like
Not
it quite
pretty.
has a tone because the opening scene is the little girl throwing up a doll, and it's basically it is that they're making fun of the scene from what's the
2001:
monkey?
A Space
Yeah,
Odyssey.
thank you.
What? See,
Yeah.
now I'm very intrigued. Like, what the freak are they going for,
Exactly.
right?
That's what I
Yeah.
was wondering. It's like,
Yeah,
what
what
tone
does
is
that make
this?
sense?
Well,
Yeah.
and I have to say, like,
But then
Ryan
there's
Gosling,
like
I do not think of him as a comedic actor, except in the Nice Guys.
Oh,
But
Nice Guys, that's
Russell,
right.
Nice
I
Guys
think
is
Russell
hilarious.
Crowe kind of brought up that humor more because
I
like
don't
he
know,
played
dude.
really well
Toilet
off of
scene?
Ryan Gosling. He was funny. I'm just saying, like, I think of movies like Drive. I think of like even La La Land, where he's kind of funny. He's still
Blade
very
Runner
like,
2049, dude. He's the best stoic character. Place Beyond the Pines, bro.
yeah, he's a stoic
Lars
guy,
and the Real
which
Girl?
is
Dude,
yeah.
I
Again,
love Lars and the Real
he
Girl.
can be endearing. I just don't think of him as funny at all. Like he's by
Yeah.
far like a least comedic actor. But I'd be interested if like Barbie girl's like going for it. Margot Robbie, yeah. I really don't care
you
for her. Like,
questioning
what,
her
what
acting
is she gonna
abilities?
bring? If she talks in a New Jersey accent or I'm gonna kill myself. Anyway, whatever. No offense to her. I just no, it's not for everyone. I even like watching Wolf of Wall Street when we did on the podcast, right? We did it, and I remember thinking like, she's annoying. I don't like her.
I think
Then
that was
again, I'm like, I also
purpose
think
of her
Leo's
character.
annoying. So yeah,
I think they're both just deplorable human beings.
I know. I just wanted to watch Leo
each other.
and Jonah Hill go at it again because they were making me laugh, dude. Smoke some crack with me. Jonah Hill's great,
I love that.
dude.
It's like
I want to
it's like,
see.
so
I
how
do
many-
want to
how
see
many do you
that.
have to drink to get buzzed? That it's non-alcoholic. So like how many?
You drink enough and you can get drunk, right?
There's no alcohol. He's like,
Uh,
this is a sad
that's
life you
great.
live.
I couldn't. I got halfway through with Tatiana. She's like, "Can we just skip to when they go to jail?"
You're like, it's the last 2 minutes of the movie. Got a long way before we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always show my wife my favorite scenes. It's just when the Quaaludes kick in. He's just like, and he falls to the floor. I love that scene. And he's
Dude,
like
no.
writhing on the ground,
The
falls
best,
over to the Lamborghini. I love that scene.
the best is when he's like made it home without a scratch, and then it shows the
Like,
car.
see his car's totaled, and you see, I love that Scorsese went back and you see him driving home and he smashes it. I love that. That made me so happy that you get to see it because it would have been funny to see the car total, but the fact that he was like under the impression that he did make it with home without a scratch made it so much funnier when he's like, "Wait, how did I get home last night?" It's so good.
Peace.
I've had it up to here with Turbo Man.
John
It's
Wick
Turbo
4.
time. Oh wait, sorry, I'm not done yet for Turbo Kid. I wanted to say one last quote. It's Turbo time. I got it. I got the doll. Guys, we love you. This is Futro Hidden Movie Gem signing out. Peace.
Well, I'm gonna keep it on.
Oh, I'm sorry. And we're back. Welcome back, folks. This is today we're talking about John Wick 4. It's so dumb.
People
It's gonna
tuned
go
out.
to 2023. Yeah,
Wait.
wait. Spoilers. Yeah, guys, we're gonna give spoilers to John Wick 4 because we have to talk about the ending. Guys, okay, so if you don't want John Wick spoiled, turn off the episode, go see it in theaters, all right? Guys, John Wick, spoiler alert, dies. I cannot believe they did. I can't believe they killed him off. I can't believe they did this. I cannot believe he committed suicide. I cannot believe he committed suicide. Neil Breen
I
coming in here.
cannot believe.
Guys, this movie was insane. I thought for sure he was going to take down the high table. I thought for sure he was going to cause a revolution. I thought Lawrence Fishburne was going to be a great callback to come back at the end with like a big posse and kill the high table, take him down, upset the established order. Like Donnie Yen's character, everyone was mad at the high table. I was waiting for the revolution.
It's funny.
It
He plays the exact
happen.
same character he did in Rogue One, a blind guy. He was the best
Yes,
part
not
of that
even-
movie too.
It was the best part of that movie
And
too.
I thought he was the best part of this one. I thought he was so awesome.
Yeah, so Hiroyuki Sanada is like one of my favorite new action stars. He was in Bullet Train. He's an awesome guy with the blade. A father must protect his family. He's so awesome. He's just so cool. Plays Shimazu and his daughter Kira, or Mia. I can't remember which one his daughter is. All Asian women look alike. And then Donnie Yen
Oh
was
my
super cool,
gosh.
playing Kane. And then Bill Skarsgård was a great villain. Ian McShane playing Winston. And then Jordan didn't care that Lance Reddick died. Sharon, I was so sad.
They spent so much
Sharon
time
dies.
on it. I was like, that. I almost got up out of the theater. I'm like, if this
I
movie's
don't-
gonna be a sappy, sad movie, I'm out of here. It was so ridiculous.
I don't understand why you keep saying sappy. Like
It was
every John
so
Wick movie
serious.
every John Wick movie has like a tone of sadness from a character's
Yes,
loss,
and
right?
I like the sadness, but like the I just felt like they were
Sappy
just
sadness.
they were just moping. I don't know. I was like, get back to the action and like, please.
Sure, it's like, can we make some more heads roll, please? Jordan, you even said so yourself. The action would get old really quick if it didn't have the love story in it. It turned out good. So I just want to point that out. And that being said, you're right in the fact that I was surprised at the tone because
Yes, the
third one
tone
was the most comedic of the three.
Thank
It was
you.
even over the top. It had Buster Keaton, played on the side of the wall. It's like, this
Well,
is going to be a stunt
it was just hard
spectacular.
for me because it was like I knew this was 3 hours, and I'm glad you told me that because. Well, I don't know if I'm glad that because then the whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, is there going to be 3 hours of this? But luckily, as soon as we met that the fat villain, oh my gosh, I was all in. He was just like the guy from Batman.
You're
He's
talking
so
about
good.
fat Lawrence Fishburne, right? Who's let himself go a little bit.
I'm talking about the guy with the gold teeth.
I know you were the Russian or
He
German.
was so awesome.
It was
Yeah.
just
And he was
doing
just
an
like,
impression
and
of
I love he's
Colin
like
Farrell
sweating like crazy.
perspiring. Yeah, I thought he was just doing Colin Farrell's Penguin from the
But
Batman.
that club
That's all it
fight
was.
so amazing. The water and everything. Holy crap.
Now he gets his own Disney Plus TV show where he'll be, fighting the Batman on regular occasion.
Yeah, see that and I mentioned this to Ty before. I felt like that was the problem with this one in comparison to Batman is there's just too much going on. I felt like they should have cut this movie in half. And it should have been just about the story about him.
Well, see, and I think the reason they had to do this is my sneaking suspicion. Each of the John Wick movies are about an hour and 40. Each of them, like hour 40, hour 45.
Yes,
hour
and
49.
like a tight.
And
hour
this one is
40.
2 hours and 49 minutes. And I think the reason for that, they added a whole nother hour because you have
There's like
what's
3
his name?
different stories
Shimazu.
going on.
Shimazu, Akira, his daughter. You had to protect her, and it's set up like they're going to continue the story. They obviously ended on a cliffhanger, but John Wick's part of this, Keanu Reeves' part of it is done. And it's like John Wick is such a central focus. Like the next movie, John Wick 5, is like without Keanu Reeves, without John Wick. You could do all the cool stunts, but you need to have like an emotional character, a focal point, right? I would follow Donnie Yen. I really would. I would watch his
Yes.
whole story. So
He
I'm for
was
it,
awesome.
which I think he will be the next character. I think they're going to.
They kind of seemed like they set it up for the other dude with his dog.
the tracker, yeah,
Yeah.
Jameer Anderson. I think he did really good. He reminds me of JD Washington, and
He's
not
alright.
just because
Gosh.
Jameer Anderson. He's cool. He reminded me of JD Washington from Tenet. He had some cool.
He did remind
chops.
me a lot of
Yeah.
Denzel's kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And like it made me think of that cool, like he could be next action star, So but I saw it and I was like, I was here for it. I liked his character. I liked the whole tracking him. He knows John Wick's location at all times, but he's not willing to kill him yet until the contract gets higher. I like that. I
That was
really did
fun.
like
I
that.
did like that. Yeah.
That was a very fun twist on like John Wick is worth 20 million now. Oh my gosh, he's worth so much dead. It's like because that was the whole third movie. They kept raising the contract and everyone was out to kill him. So and of course you had Clancy Brown, who plays Harbinger. He's the guy with the pistols and the scar on his eye. What else is he in that we've seen? Is he the warden in Shawshank or not? I thought he was. I think he's a different guy.
Oh, yeah.
He is the warden.
Not the warden. Not the warden. He's one of the guards.
Captain Hadley, isn't he? He's Captain Hadley in Shawshank. Isn't that the warden that's like, yeah, you think it's really funny if you with no teeth, right?
Oh
I don't even know
gosh.
why I edited that out, but that's him. That's his character. He's the evil warden.
He's not the warden. He's the
Excuse me, not
officer.
the warden. Yeah, he's the captain. I know. I don't know why
Yeah.
I said warden, but yeah, he's the correctional officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yes, sorry, I had to cut that out. It's hard to say that quote.
I know, it's funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, he wasn't the warden. I meant to say he was one of the prison guards from Shawshank.
It's okay.
Anyway.
It's the same like Mandy. I love quoting that one.
I like that. I wanted to see Skarsgård. He said blades was his weapon of choice. I wanted to see Skarsgård fight just a little bit. Give the actor, because he was so good. He was over the top. It would have been fun to see him proficient with a weapon. Instead, he's just played as a bumbling buffoon and dies because he didn't.
Are you talking about the guy from Barbarian, right?
Yes, Bill Skarsgård. He played the clown from It. Yes, you need to learn his name now. He's a good actor. He gets clout now because he was. I do
like seeing him in Barbarian.
Yes, you like seeing him in things. So now you need to learn his name, Bill Skarsgård.
But he's kind of like that guy. I just like seeing him in things as that guy.
No, he's not that guy. He
is that guy.
No, he's not. He's not anymore. You're gonna learn his name. Show some respect. Bill Skarsgård. But anyway,
he's no Steve Buscemi, okay?
Dude, we didn't know Steve Buscemi's name for the longest time. What did we used to call him? The guy from Spy Kids 2?
Nice to meet you. Tired and hungry.
It's like, do you think God hangs out in heaven because he's afraid of what he made down here on earth?
I thought you were gonna quote the nice to meet you, tired and hungry.
Nice to meet who are you? Tired and hungry. Nice to meet you, tired and hungry. Oh my gosh, my wife was telling me, she's like, I want to watch Spy Kids with the kids. I'm like, I don't know if that movie holds up. I remember being pretty terrified when I was a kid. Frugalies, they like mutate people's faces and stuff. And then they play it backwards and it says help. Lucas said, Madman, help us, save us. It's freaking dark, dude.
Oh, my cheeks.
Dude, we should review Spy Kids on.
We should
do like awful movies. We should do genuinely awful movies that don't hold up. Anyway, the movie's sleek. I liked the action in it. There were some really cool moments.
I just missed the comedic stuff. I love that Jared mentioned that it was lacking in the comedic department.
We're referring to Jared Bauer, regular on the podcast. Well, maybe not regular. At least we've done his episode.
We're really good
Jared
friends.
Bauer.
In case
our best friend, pen pal. No, to be fair, I have written him outside of the podcast, so we're pen pals. I email him once in a while, and he emails back. He really does. He like reads my emails. So anyway, it's really cool. And we love you, Jared. So yeah, I love his take on it because he's not wrong in the fact that because of the finale of John Wick's closing that door, I am curious to see, like, can you call it John Wick 5? Do you call it something else? Do you call it the High Table? Like, I would be totally fine for a Netflix series where you follow another assassin or just that world of a High Table. But see, I'm like, it is sad that, Keanu Reeves is just too old, so they're going to take him out of this franchise. And that could have been Keanu Reeves's choosing. But I almost, like you said, you could have done a 2-part movie, sure.
Well, just this movie could have cut it in half. Like, it could have.
Right. I mean, you could have. See, this is what I was expecting. And you're right. Like, who am I to be like, I expected it to be this. I just saw the painting of the French Revolution, and I'm like, oh, they're going to have a revolution. They're foreshadowing. I thought for sure. Lawrence Fishburne is unhappy with the High Table. Even Winston, he's upset with the High Table. They burned his hotel. I thought for sure it's like there's going to be a reckoning coming because the High Table has already overstepped their bounds. And so it goes, the rules is what separates us from the animals. They always mention this motif, and I thought eventually they're going to be like, all right, but we have these evil dictators that are behaving like animals. Like, they didn't keep the rules with John Wick. They tried to murder him before he could show up at dawn. See, like, I thought all these things were playing up into, and then I realized like, no, they're ending the movie here. And I thought for sure this movie was going to end with John Wick surviving this whole ordeal and being like, the High Table has to go. And then you were like, the final chapter, John Wick 5, They're taking down the hightail. I thought that's what the third one was for. He literally says, he's like, "Are you pissed, John?" And he's like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill everyone that stands in his way. He's gonna kill the whole high table and start a whole revolution." Why would you show the painting of a revolution if it didn't have one? There was no revolution in this movie. So I'm sorry, I'm a little upset. But that being said, I love this movie. I was like, dude, take down the high table. Do it. I love that he killed Bill Skarsgård. That was great. Like, he wasn't shot and he still had the bullet in his pistol and he just blows him away. I thought that was hilarious. But like, it is almost disappointing where you're like, I would have loved to see him be more confident with knives or see him fight once, because I'd love to see Bill Skarsgård if he could perform as an action star. Maybe they tried it and he's like, I can't do it. He's like, I can do a creepy smile and I can make my eyes drift apart. Like, I did it in it a lot. So anyway. That was part of the reason why I got it. He can do a creepy clown smile. Look it up in interviews. He can also make his lazy eye like drift apart. It's really weird. It's really cool. But it's Bill Skarsgård. You learn his name now, okay? Because he's a cool actor. All right, we got to wrap this up quickly. Like John Quickly.
Done quickly.
John Wickley, I mean. I tried to say it, John Wick. John Quickly. John Wickley. Mr. Wick. I liked everything from this movie. I was saddened that there wasn't as much humor. There's a scene where a dog pees on the guy's head. Great. Hilarious. There's a scene where he gets kicked down the stairs, which I thought was hilarious. The opening scene, I got the visual of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. John Wick's chasing 3 guys in the desert. Super cool visual with the sun rising behind him, and he's chasing these 3 horsemen on horseback, shooting them in the desert. Then he finds the Sheik. Not the same guy that got his finger cut off or whatever, but he's like, I rose to the top. And he's like, looks like you came all this way out here for nothing. And he's like, well, not for nothing. And he shoots him right in the face. It's amazing. It's like the Casino Royale open, you know? He's like, so did he make you feel it? Did he? He's like, yeah. Well, the first death is always hard. The second is, and then he gets shot, and Daniel Craig's like, yes, considerably.
Considerably.
Much easier. So good. Character moments like that. Awesome. Sorry, it was a total waste for you to come out here. Not a total waste. Oh, blows away. That's amazing. That's just a great way to throw you right back in the movie. And then like Lawrence Fishburne comes and finds John Wick. He's punching the heck out of this thing. The sound speaker in my theater, I was really happy. They really amped it up. You hear him punching the freaking thing. You're like, oh my gosh, he's gonna sink his fist into someone's face in this movie. Are you still pissed off, Mr. Wick? Yeah. Are you ready? I don't remember what he says.
I guess it's just
yeah, like 4 or 5 times.
3 hours is pretty long for a lot of killing. I just like, holy cow.
It is. And I think, like I said, next time I go to, when I'm in church, I'm going to be walking up with my coat up in front of my head, doing a lot of that action. Just kept like pulling up their jackets, and shooting. Pew, pew.
Oh yeah. Did you like that? I thought that was kind of,
I like the whole bulletproof thing, and it made it feel a little bit more tactical, because it's like, oh, how could you survive all these bullets? There's a great scene where he's taking off his jacket and all the
and you can hear the bolts fall. Yeah.
It's a great, all the slugs are falling out of his jacket. I like that. And then like I can't mention so a lot of the Christian overtones with these movies, right? But I liked Jared's analysis of like the whole, what is it, the demonic soul that carts people. I don't remember, but anyway, digs up his weapons from the ground, and I wasn't really paying attention.
So demons.
Yeah, demon. No, but like they always call him Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, and he's like upsetting the established order. And again, I'm just saying, they had the photo, and maybe they're gonna take it this way eventually.
Oh my
right?
gosh, we're on this revolution again.
I'm just saying,
that was the worst part of Blade Runner 2049 was the whole revolution. I was like, boo, just skip over this.
Red, the color of angry men. Dude, sign me up for the resolution, man. I want it. You're dumb. Jordan's a pacifist. I am an anarchist. Take the power back, people. Be emboldened. Fight back.
Your watch keeps making me think of that blue glowing thing from Turbo Kid. I keep waiting for it to be like, bloop, bloop.
How'd you find me? It's your watch. How would I take it off? Don't. You don't.
You don't.
You don't. Yeah. Anyways, I liked it. I like John Wick. It wasn't as funny as the third one. I love the branding. They always do that thing where I'm like, oh,
wait, you got to rank them really quick, Ty. What is it? Mine's 1, 3, 4, 2.
It's 3, 1, 4, 2.
Whoa, you changed. Okay.
I said it's close.
You said you're like, oh, 4 is like almost my favorite. Recency bias much?
No, I know, but like you've heard me now say, but again, I think if I go back and visit this, I'll like it more. But
Yeah,
right
well,
now,
I'm
like,
very, very excited to own it because I can take a break and I also can watch my favorite scenes again because there's some amazing stuff in this
yeah,
movie. I will agree
for
with that.
sure. And that's what,
Yeah.
yeah, like and that's my favorite thing about John Wick 3. I go back to this
Yes.
scene and the
The
knives in the walls.
knives.
It's by far one of the most entertaining things
Yes.
like out there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
John Wick
and the
1
scene
when they
from
break into
Nobody
his
in the
home.
bus. I rewatched that scene quite a bit. So.
Yes. Yeah, see, exactly. But dude, Nobody is a freaking awesome movie. I watched it a second time and I was like, I forgot how awesome this
It
movie
is
was.
awesome.
Nobody's great. I can't wait for the sequel to that. Bob Odenkirk. And again, he's almost too old. I'm like, why are all my action
Oh,
heroes so
they
dang
kept
old?
calling this guy Nobody, the hitman after him.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that would have been a great role for Bob Odenkirk. I'm kind of bummed he didn't make it. Is that kind of a
Or
nod to it?
I don't know. Probably not. But
Oh.
if it was, oh my gosh, a cross universe of Nobody and John Wick. I'm just saying, they're like, yeah, these universes are related. It wouldn't matter, but
And I'm
like,
excited for that
oh.
new the producers are making another like Nazi killing movie. I'm excited. I'm on board.
Sisu,
Something
right?
like that, yeah.
Yeah, SISU. It looks insane. It's like
Yeah.
from the guys that brought you John Wick, and then he's just
I was like, I'm
murdering
sold.
Nazis. I'm like, great. Yeah, whatever the enemies have to be in order to us just justify them in mass droves in the most violent way possible.
Yeah.
It literally looks like the movie that was made for Hitler and Inglorious.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's like that movie.
That's totally
for
what I thought.
Americans, and we're like,
well, but
kill the
I think
Nazi.
it's gonna be what we thought that was gonna be. Like I think we thought Inglorious was gonna be, this crazy action movie, but this one
Right.
is like that. It still has action, but it's more story.
Right. But yeah, it made me think of Ballad of Buster Scruggs too. At the beginning, he's digging for gold and he finds it, and then he's headed back, and then the Nazis stop him, and they're like, "We're gonna be rich, boys.
Yeah.
We're gonna take his gold."
I
And he's
totally
just
thought
like,
of that too. That's funny.
You're not taking my gold. And that's why I kind of like it, where it's like a greed thing, because you're not necessarily supposed to root for this guy. It's all for
Yeah.
greed, and he's murdering Nazis.
Well,
so like,
but he's
both are
it's Nazis. It's
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like he's doing it for greed, for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
And so there's not saying it's a good thing. And then he's killing Nazis. So you can still make hyper violent movies if you justify that moral high, because they're like, how could you justify such extreme violence? People are just gonna watch this and, I don't know, murder their neighbors for some reason. Never occurred to me to murder any of my neighbors. And I've seen every Quentin Tarantino film ever. So folks, calm down. Because it's fun, Jan. Get it? Guys, check out Tarantino's interview with that lady. It's so good.
so good.
John Wick jumps out of a window and he falls like 3 stories. And it's not as bad as John Wick 3, where he like falls between like an alleyway, but he still jumps out of a window and lands on a car hood. It's
Well, and that dog
insane
that
stuff.
gets nailed by the car and it gets up and it's like totally fine. And it was a CGI dog. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, that was weird how they didn't injure the dog. It was almost like, don't worry, we didn't kill the dog.
I
Like,
know that's so
literally
funny.
Killed the puppy in John Wick 1. Like,
I know. I love they're like, don't worry.
dog.
Like, and it happens so
Dog's fine.
quick. Yeah, dog's fine.
It was almost as fast as the Chewbacca fake out in the Rise of Skywalker. It's like, Chewbacca's dead.
He's
No,
fine.
He's fine. He's right here.
He's fine.
Chewbacca's
It's
right here, kids.
guys,
Stop
it's
crying,
okay.
kids. It's okay. Stop
It's
crying,
okay.
kids. It's gonna be okay.
We didn't do it again.
gosh.
We didn't do it again.
We didn't kill Chewbacca. He's fine. Yeah. Anyway, I did like this movie, and I think it's worth seeing. The incendiary bullets
Yeah.
were some of the coolest thing. That overhead shot, it made me feel like I was watching Minority Report with those robots going into the house and the apartments and stuff. Really
Yeah.
cool camera work where he's wandering around the halls and just blasting people with the incendiary bullets, and you see like they're like on fire. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen an incendiary bullet in a movie before. I've seen it plenty of times in COD, but that's Call of Duty for those uneducated. Like, I've seen it in COD. What are you talking about? Call of Duty. Violent video games. But yeah, they have incendiary bullets in the shotgun, Dragon Breath. But I've never seen it in a movie. It's like you watch him walk around blasting people and they're like set on fire. It was really impressive. And then yeah, the whole car shooting while like he picks up a gun like on the floor. It's super cool. Like it's super sleek. This movie has all the things that you're gonna like. It did just take a little bit more serious tone, and I guess that's fitting for the final John Wick movie. Keanu Reeves is out. He's tapping out, and he's passing the movie on to other people. And I'm like, but you can't call it a John Wick movie anymore. So again, I'm like, as long as I knew what the future held for this franchise, I'd be super excited. But right now, I'm like very tepid. I'm like,
well, if I'm even fine, Ty, if they keep doing all these side movies like Nobody and this new German movie, I'm I hope they just keep making stuff like that.
Oh yeah, no, just yeah, keep making the craft, keep making interesting
Atomic
characters.
Blonde Tie is also another good one. Same director from.
I didn't watch it. Was it good? I like Charlize Theron.
I loved it. I thought it was
Really?
great. Yeah, the
Atomic
action
Blonde?
was amazing. There's like this really long one take, and she actually does some amazing stuff.
Okay,
So
be interested to watch
I mean,
it.
it's the same director as I think the second John Wick or the first. I don't know, but
Okay. You know, really good movie with Liam Hemsworth or Chris Hemsworth. He like saves this Indian kid, and it's called Excavation, and you hated it for some reason.
oh,
It's a great
maybe I'll
movie.
give it another shot. I don't
It's
know.
a flippin' awesome movie. The way, real quick, they shot it. The guy was grappling on like he had the carabiners. He was locked onto the hood of the car with the camera, and he stops and he like unhooks himself and then runs out. It's so cool.
All right,
Like
I'll check it out.
it's a really cool way how they filmed it because you're like, it was like dangerous for the camera. The cameraman is doing stunts so he can film it the way they did. And I'm like, that's cool. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's one of those things where you like appreciate it when you like learn a little bit more about it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, John Wick with the freaking nunchucks, super cool. So much to enjoy about John Wick 4. Watch it.
Oh, we
Lawrence
forgot to
Fishburne is
mention too
great.
the blind when he puts on the creative ways to like hear things like the dinging bells so he could like
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
people.
Puts these little sensors down, and
Yeah.
as they walk in front of him, ding dong.
I just
shoots
like
them
when they
into
get
action.
creative and interesting. It's really fun when they do creative, fun stuff. So
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And Donnie Yen and my boy
oh,
from Bullet Train, they're so
Donnie
cool.
Yen, so good.
He's great. And I've been saying Donnie Yen. I'm pretty sure that's his name, right? Yeah, Donnie Yen. Okay, make sure I got it right. And then
I'm one with the force with me.
yeah, Hiroyuki Sanada. I'm gonna learn his name because he's one of my favorite actors right now. Hiroyuki. What a cool name, Hiroyuki. What else was he in? Because he was in Bullet Train. Dude, he's like the Twilight Samurai. Oh, he was in the Wolverine. That's cool. Wait, was that the good Wolverine or the bad one?
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, wait, 1 second. I'm pretty sure was he the villain in the Wolf? Yeah, it was the good. Wait, yeah, the good Wolverine, the awesome Japanese one. What was he in that? Was he the good guy or the bad guy? Hiroyuki, you're awesome. I'm gonna watch all your movies now because like I'm on a trip. I want to watch really good films. I'm done with all this garbage. Only good stuff. I'm gonna start watching a lot of foreign films. I'm gonna start watching more South Korean films. I'm gonna watch Memoirs of a Murderer.
Finally, we've only been recommending it for 50 million years.
I keep forgetting like movies on my list, and that's on my list.
And
now.
Bedeviled. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Bedeviled eggs. Yeah.
Bedeviled.
Bedeviled eggs. Bedeviled. All right.
Watch
Folks,
it.
watch it. Watch it. Everybody, this has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems. Thanks for tuning in. Somebody please get this man a gun. Or what he doesn't say that in this movie, but he's like a 42 regular or whatever. He gives him the suit. I love it. Lawrence Fishburne. The best money that Kevlar can buy, or whatever. I don't remember. Anyway, folks, this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems. We love you guys lots. Check us out. Leave us an email, futuremovies@gmail.com. Futuremovies@gmail. Have you checked that email? Do we have like a bunch of email? Are you checking it? I haven't checked it. Are you checking that email?
Yeah.
Is there anyone that emails us? You'll know if someone emails us, right?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Mom's emailed us. Remember, I've read it on the pod. You're like,
Yeah, I
Mom.
know that, but I'm just saying, like, is it possible that like people have been emailing us and we haven't checked in a while? I'm just wondering because I haven't checked.
I mean, we get spammed a lot.
Really? Cool. We get spam, guys. You heard it here first. Everybody, this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, he falls down a lot of stairs. I like that.